looks like we're live. I'm going to give it another minute. If there's anybody that's out there, I see we're missing a few, so. Thank you, sir. Any word from Commissioner Hatcher real quickly before we get ready to go?
I spoke to her not too long ago. She was planning on coming, so must be technical issues or something.
No, you're fine. And then anybody know? Oh, there he is, Commissioner King. There he is. And Mr. Frisbee. Oh, buddy, look at there.
Sorry.
No, you're
I couldn't
fine.
find the password.
No, you're quite all right. Chair Frisbee is online. Look at there. He made it at the whisk of time.
He said he may be able to join by phone, and I guess you guys can decide still, Gary, whether for
No,
you.
I'm going to reach out to him real quickly and just see that if he's ready to.
Okay.
Chair Frisbee, can you hear me or no?
Just made it.
All right, there you are. Hey, there we are.
All right. Everybody ready?
I think we're ready. We're just missing Commissioner Hatcher at this point. So other than that, we're ready to go.
Thank you. I call to order the June 17th, 2021 Board of Commissioners regular session. In accordance with Section 3 of the Michigan Open Meetings Act, the clerk will note for the record that this meeting is being conducted remotely via Zoom pursuant to a local declaration of emergency adopted by the Board of Commissioners on March 18th, 2020 and extended on October 15th, 2020. All members are attending remotely with video activated. During the roll call, each member will indicate if they are currently located in Calhoun County, or if not, the city, county, village, township, or state from which they are attending this meeting remotely. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tommy Miller.
Present. In Marengo Township.
Commissioner Gary Tompkins.
Present, Homer Township.
Commissioner Kathy Sue Fetty.
Here. District 1, Lakeview, Battle Creek, Michigan.
Commissioner Rochelle Hatcher. Not sure where she is.
Hopefully she'll join us.
Okay. Commissioner Jake Smith.
Present from the lovely La Vista Boulevard in Battle Creek.
Commissioner Steve Frisbee.
Present from Battle Creek.
Commissioner Derek King.
Present, Saresco.
We have quorum.
Thank you. After a moment of silence, Commissioner Miller will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Commissioner Miller.
I pledge allegiance to the flag. Sorry, am I unmuted?
You're fine.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a motion to approve the June 17th, 2021 Board of Commissioners regular session agenda as presented.
So moved, Betty.
Support Miller.
Betty and Miller, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Yes.
Commissioner Fetty.
Yes.
Not sure if Commissioner Hatcher has joined.
I haven't seen her yet.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
We have 6 yes.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 28th, 2001 Board of Commissioners Special Workshop on the American Rescue Plan Act and the minutes of the June 3rd, 2021 regular session as presented?
So moved,
So
Tom.
moved. Support Betty.
Tompkins and Betty. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher, Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
yes,
We have 6 yes.
Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is citizens' time. During citizens' time, the board chair shall recognize any person wishing to address the board. A person recognized by the chair shall call in and state his or her name and community of residence. Board only once on the same matter during each period set aside for citizens' time on the agenda and only on matters that are relevant to county government. The chair shall control the length of each time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes, and shall not allow negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note there's an approximately 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Is there anyone who would like to address their commissioners? Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners?
Oh. Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I believe there was one on the attendees that wanted to speak. I just don't know if they're available or not there.
And Rod Otten is also in.
Yes, that was, yep. Yes, ma'am. Yep.
Rod, were you wishing to speak?
I'm sorry, this is Rod Otten.
Yep. Go ahead, Rod.
Good evening. I am a resident of Battle Creek, but serve the Albion Healthcare Alliance and the Albion community. I wanted to talk briefly about the work that we're doing around food security in Albion with the community table of Albion. We sought grant funding recently to move our food distribution services from the food hub in Albion to Albion College. And with this requested dollars to be able to create the necessary physical space at the college for residents to come through for food, to create a food pantry, as well as create a permanent part-time position to oversee the work of food distribution. At present and in the past, it's been done by volunteer services. So strategically, we have made a decision as an Albion area work group to put this infrastructure in place to ensure that food security in and around Albion is addressed long-term in this manner. So to date, we have been able to move the services over there. We've started providing distribution at Wesley Hall at the college. We have yet to be able to put the food pantry together, nor have we moved forward on the creation of the paid part-time position to manage the services for that. But I wanted to make the commission aware of our planning, our strategy, and what we're working towards in terms of addressing food security needs of Albion area residents moving forward.
Thank you, Rod. I have a
welcome.
phone number ending in 9407 that has their hand up. Go ahead.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is Beth Bird calling in from Emmett Township. Ignore the 202 area code. I am local. I was just calling in tonight during Citizens Time to voice my support for the new policy that the Board of Commissioners is taking up tonight regarding board and committee appointments. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to address our commissioners? Anybody in the queue? Doesn't appear to be. Okay, we'll move on. Are there any elected or appointed county officials who'd like to comment tonight? I don't see any. Well, there's one panelist. And that would be Clerk Hinckley. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. Good evening from the peaceful views of the Township of Eckford tonight. I just wanted to give a quick update to the commissioners. We've been working on a little project in our Marshall office to service the residents on the east side of the county with our PPO services. Our wonderful new PPO coordinator, she remembers back in the day, and some of you who've been around for a while may remember that our office used to service the east side of the county with PPO services. And so we're looking at having those services come to the Marshall office 1 day a week. We're still kind of in the final stages of that. But I just kind of wanted to give you an update that will be coming out hopefully soon, a press release on what days and how to contact those services in our Marshall office. As well as I wanted to, if you guys haven't seen the notice, our organizational meeting of the Apportionment Commission will be held this next Wednesday, June 23rd at 9 a.m. in the Board of Commissioners chambers. Is our organizational meeting. I kind of thought we wanted to get that taken care of now. And then once the census data hopefully is released by September 30th, we'll have that out of the way and can start working on that daunting task. So just a couple of things tonight. So thank you very much and have a great evening.
Thank you, you too. Any other elected or appointed county officials? All right, we'll move on. Next is a special order of business, and we're going to have a public hearing as required by Section 147F of the Internal Revenue Code concerning the approval of a resolution authorizing the issuance of certain bonds that will benefit Endeavor Charter Academy. This is a hearing for the purpose of meeting the requirements. Possible issuance, one of more series of charter school lease revenue bonds, Campus Partners 1 project, Series 2021, pursuant to a plan of finance in order to cost the project within Calhoun County, Michigan in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $14,500,000. Can I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion, Betty.
Betty and Hatcher, welcome, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Glad you made it. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Yes.
It's 7 yes.
Motion carries. The public hearing is open. Do you want me to read the introduction, Kelly?
Sure, that would be fine.
Okay. Proceeds in the maximum amount of $14,500,000 from the sale of bonds will be loaned by the authority to Campus One Partners and its affiliates, all single-member limited liability companies and disregarded entities of Campus Partners One, which we'll refer to collectively as the borrower, to be used to finance or reimburse all or a portion of the cost of a project that consists, one, of the acquisition and improvement of a public charter school facility for use in their school operations at the location and in the estimated maximum principal amount listed below, the charter school facility, two, the funding of any required reserves, and three, the payment of the cost of issuance of bonds. The borrower will lease the charter school facility to a qualified 501c3 entities or governmental entities. The proceeds of the bonds will be used to acquire and improve the following charter school facility in Calhoun County: Endeavor Public Academy, located at 380 North Helmer Road, Springfield, Michigan, 49037-7776. Is there any persons wishing to speak regarding the bonds or the project?
Mr. Chair, if I could add a comment to that, and I just want to clarify, because this is not an item that we have, I don't know, ever done in front of the Board of Commissioners, but as you read, it is a requirement in the Internal Revenue Code for this sort of unique situation. And the Academy's attorney asked the county to hold the public hearing because it is a requirement that one of the local units of government do that. I just want to make it clear that they're not asking for the full faith and credit of the county to back the bonds. This will have nothing to do with our credit rating or our debt limit. It's really just because we are a local government that covers the jurisdiction within which the Academy is. So it's just sort of a formality and does not impact the county's finances or credit at all.
Thank you. Is there anybody that would like to speak?
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
I would also indicate that we have representatives of the law firm and operating entity that will benefit from these from this public hearing. They're available and they have been promoted to panelists if they have anything that you'd like to say, or if the board has any questions for them.
I believe Laura is one of them and Holly, maybe the other. Either of you wish to speak? Any questions from the board?
Laura has her hand up, Chair Frisbee.
Go ahead, Laura.
You. As Mr. Dyer mentioned, I am here on behalf of National Heritage Academies with Endeavor Charter Academy. And as they mentioned, this is a formality that would allow the school to be, the purchase of the school building to be financed through tax exempt bonds. It's not an obligation of the county. It's a requirement, though, that we approach the county for approval before we could start the process to obtain tax exempt bonds. The benefit to the school is that the interest rates, as I'm sure you're familiar with, are great right now. And this is going to help the school lock in a low interest rate and a low lease rate for 30 years. So I thank you for considering this in your hearing today.
Thank you, Laura. Anyone else?
One final thing, Mr. Chair, before we close the public hearing, the Section 147 of the Internal Revenue Code does require that a toll-free line be available for public comment, and that was arranged by Holly Horsley from the law firm that's representing the applicant in this context. And I would just ask Holly if there have been any calls or anyone that has called into that toll-free line so we can make a record if they wish to speak.
Holly? Holly, are you there? I don't show her muted. How should we proceed, Mr. Dyer? No, there's Holly. Holly? Now I think you're muted. We see you talking, but don't hear anything. Okay, Holly, put your camera back on real quick. She's connecting to audio. Here we go. She's connected now. Holly, are you back? Holly, if you could activate your camera, we'll just get you to shake your head yes or no. Has anyone called in? There we could, no. Okay. So the answer is no. So we'll proceed. Nobody else in the queue? All right, I don't see any other hands up. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support Smith.
Tompkins and Smith. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hatcher,
You're muted, Rochelle.
I heard her say yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of certain bonds that will benefit Endeavor Charter Academy as presented, and direct the clerk to add the comments from the public into the body of the resolution?
So moved, Hatcher.
Support Betty.
Thatcher and Betty, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
7 yes.
Motion carries. All right. Thank you, Holly and Laura, for joining us tonight.
Thank you. Can you hear me now? I just
can.
got on the, okay, I apologize. I tried to speak about 4 times and I just switched to a different device, but I just wanted to say thank you. I think the information that was provided was exactly correct and accurate. And thank you very much for your time tonight. Apologies for the technical difficulties.
We overcame. All
We
right.
all have them.
Yes. Next, we have a Juneteenth Day Proclamation, and I'll read that in the record. Whereas Juneteenth had its origin in 1865 in Galveston, Texas, observing June 19th as the African American Emancipation Day and is the oldest known celebration of ending slavery. And whereas Juneteenth commemorates the date of June 19th, 1865, when the last African American slaves held in Confederate states were freed. and has been observed since June 19th, 1866. Whereas it's a time for reflection and rejoicing, a time for assessment and self-improvement and for planning for the future. Its growing popularity signifies a level of maturity and dignity in America long overdue, and in cities across the country, people of all races, nationalities, and religions are joining hands to truthfully acknowledge a period in our history that shaped and continues to influence our society today. And whereas sensitized to the conditions and experiences of others, only then can we make significant and lasting improvements in our society. Therefore, be it resolved that the Calhoun County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim June 19th as Juneteenth Day. In Calhoun County encourages all citizens to participate in Juneteenth Day celebrations as permissible and to honor the great moment in history in our nation. Signed, Steve Frisbee, Chair, Board of Commissioners. Can I have a motion to approve the proclamation?
So moved, Hatcher.
Support Tompkins.
Hatcher and Tompkins. Is there any discussion?
Commissioner or Chair Frisbee, I would please like to thank you and the commissioners. As an African American in this community, and that being my heritage, I would like to thank my team and my other commissioners for supporting this effort and realizing the importance of the diversity that we show here in the community of Calhoun County. I appreciate the acknowledgement from the board, and I appreciate the understanding and the need and the understanding of the need for diversity in the community. And I just appreciate that as being a part of my heritage. Thank you all, and thank you, Commissioner and Vice Chair Frisbee, so much for
Thank
the
you.
acknowledgement. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Here, 7 yes.
Motion carries. Next, we have the consent agenda. We have 6 items on the consent agenda. We have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda as presented.
So moved, Vetty.
Support Smith.
Betty and Smith, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Special committee workshop and board reports.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Thank you very much. A couple of committee reports this evening. First of all, the Senior Millage Allocation Committee met on June 4th. We heard an appeal on the Senior Strategic Project Subcommittee's recommendation not to fund the expansion of elder care mediation services into Calhoun County. This decision was based on the information that was provided to us, as well as much research that was done with other areas. The subcommittee did not see the need at this time. The decision was upheld not to fund at this point in time. We certainly encourage them to gather more information as that need arises. We also approved the recommendation from the Senior Strategic Project Subcommittee's recommendation to fund the Heritage Commons Senior Center and Marshall's renovations at $125,000 with a $50,000 match challenge. So after much discussion, we were unanimous in moving forward with that. And then finally, we approved a mini grant request in the amount of $5,000 for a senior exercise video system to Kingdom Builders International of Battle Creek. So, and then secondly, the Calhoun County Solid Waste Advisory Committee met on June 16th. After discussion, the committee approved moving forward with moving its meetings every month to every other month, starting in August of 2021. This change will allow for more productive meetings with a full agenda to maximize the committee's time. The meeting time of 4 p.m. will remain the same. So what you'll see is August, October, and December from this point forward. And we really felt that, again, maximizing everybody's time and to meet just for the sake of meeting is not a good excuse to do so. So, and then next, Sarah Kelly from Solid Waste was reported on the number of recycling events in the spring. And we have received some significant collections. April's event of the electronics and appliances, over 70,000 pounds of electronics and over 12,000 pounds of appliances were actually collected during that event, with 27,000 pounds of household hazardous waste was collected in the April hazardous waste collection, as well as 18,000 pounds in the May collection. 900 tires were collected at the Athens event for tire recycling. And then the CNC landfill recycling center collected 465 loads of recycling in April and 474 in May. So you can see a significant amount of recycling being done moving forward. And certainly as we move out of our pandemic, people are excited, I guess, to get rid of some of that stuff that's been hanging around. And then finally, we held a discussion on the potential reopening of the Marshall Recycling Center and certainly the challenges behind that reopening. And additionally, we discussed what Calhoun County's role is going forward in the Southwest Michigan Solid Waste Consortium as well. So that is my committee reports this evening. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. It's good news on the events.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody else?
Yes, Chair, if I
Go
could,
ahead.
please. And I hope you guys can hear me.
We
as
can.
I am also on the road. Thank you. I did want to report that I did meet with New Level Sports. New Level Sports is working in the community of District 2 and Washington Heights, along with the administrators, working to procure, I guess I would say, entrepreneurship in that community for our community to grow. We are also, with the leaving and, the ending of Rock Market, we are also working on procuring a new market in that area for the constituents in that area also too. So I did meet with them, and funds are being produced for that, and we are working also with the community to help them. And I do want to thank also the county for supporting that as well, that venture. So that is going well. We are working to actually do our own home market in that area. So I do want to applaud at this time New Level Sports and Pastor Chris McCoy for his endeavor in working with us and working in the community with that. We're also working with, I believe it's the, I'm sorry, I've lost the train of thought, but it is the food group that they are growing. So it is just a lot going on with that. Christy from the land bank is working with us as well. So there's a lot of movement that's going on that, and that is because of the county and the assistance of the board. So thank you.
Thank you. Good news. Anybody else? All right. We have no unfinished or old business. We're going to move on to the county administrator's report and new business. Turn it over to Kelly Scott.
Mr. Chair, a lot of news today came out at the state and national level. So the President of the United States elevated our proclamation about Juneteenth by declaring that June 19th will now be a federal holiday, which is the first federal holiday to be declared since Martin Luther King Day in 1983. So that was exciting news. Also at the state level, Governor Whitmer declared today, June 17th, as Essential Worker Appreciation Day. Hopefully, I've made it clear over the last year that our county administration and definitely the board, with the board's support, we try really hard to support our essential workers. And, last year we were required to sort of classify our employees, and most of them really were essential workers. This year, with the American Rescue Plan Act, U.S. Treasury has sort of decided that all county workers are essential, and I definitely agree with that. We will continue to look at ways to support our workers, even though now we're getting a little bit more back to a normal work schedule. There's still a lot of support that needs to happen as we're bringing people back to work, and they continue to struggle with childcare issues and other scheduling issues at home, in addition to their dedication to keeping our community safe and healthy. So I just want to say that in front of you all and in the public that we do thank all of our essential workers for coming to work every day, and we do appreciate them. Highlights from some other boards and committees. Board Chair Steve Frisbee and I hosted our quarterly meeting with the city managers and mayors. We talked about the American Rescue Plan Act and just, exchanged strategies with the cities about, potential areas to collaborate. Some of those, given the city's mission aligning with the counties, had to do with housing and economic development, as you may expect. The Firekeepers Local Revenue Sharing Board met also on June 4. Basically concluded most of the business for this year with the net win of about 4.9 million from the casino's operations from last year. It was down about 16%. But we finalized the distribution of all of those checks. The local governments should have received them about a week ago. And the board will end this year with a balance of about 125,000 left in discretionary funds, and they chose to carry that over to next year as we've done in the past, instead of offering a grant program for this year. So they'll meet one more time, really just to accept the audit from last year and wrap up any final business. So thank you to Commissioners King and Frisbee as alternate for serving as the county's representatives on that board. On June 7, our HR director, Kim Archambault, and I convened our monthly meeting with our union leadership. So that's the union stewards from all of the county's union groups. We include our court administrators and, give them updates on, this time we gave them updates on our COVID response plan and related policies. We are continuing, well, we have finalized the consolidation of our 457 retirement savings plan that will save employees on fees and maximize their return on investment. So it was a good meeting. The Calhoun County Broadband Task Force that the Board of Commissioners authorized held its second meeting on June 8. Lucy Blair is staffing that and doing a wonderful job leading us to continue the momentum. We had the Merit Network, which is our contracted agency there, and they talked about plans to do the next step, which is a countywide survey to come out in mid-July, where they will be collecting data from all of our residents about access to internet services. So that's required under the Metro Act for us to have, some comprehensive data that will, obviously we know there are gaps in internet access, but this will be some more data that can be used for funding sources and just to give out to providers to figure out what the solution will be to provide broadband internet access to all of our residents. So happy about that. I mentioned last month that I was appointed to the Battle Creek Airport Advisory Board. So my first meeting as the appointee took place on June 9. So we just really got an overview of the airport and what their potential new development plans for the property in Battle Creek, and elected the chair and vice chair. The county's Veterans Affairs Committee met on June 9, and I think the important thing to note there is that the veterans millage, the extra voted veterans millage, expires next year. So they're already starting to talk about how to just share the impact of that millage, even starting this year, and then starting to work on a millage campaign going into next year for renewal. Good news on our pension obligation bonds. The Michigan Treasury Department did approve our application on June 9. So that was the final hurdle to clear. And we're just working on the official statement and the final steps to issue bonds. The market still looks great, according to our financial advisor and bond attorney. And we're scheduled to close on that deal on the first week of July. The Marshall Area Economic Development Alliance, our MEDA board, met on June 15. It was an organizational meeting, so I was reelected as treasurer. We just basically reaffirmed our slate of officers for next year and approved the budget. The road department and county administration convened a meeting with all of our township supervisors this past week to talk about the American Rescue Plan Act and the possibility of collaborating to accelerate our progress on improving roads in Calhoun County. So really where we're at with the American Rescue Plan Act is the county has received our first 50%, which was a direct allocation from the federal government. The townships, on the other hand, are getting their allocations through the state of Michigan, and the state hasn't even put out their applications yet. They're hoping to do that by the beginning of July for the townships to request their funds. So really all they have are the interim guidance from US Treasury on the eligible uses and estimated amounts that they'll be getting. So our townships are getting about 6 million in total, all 19 townships. They range from about 100,000 to $1 million. However, when they request the funds, they also have to indicate what their annual budget is, because the estimated amounts have to be limited to not more than 75% of the township's operating budget. So if they were slated to get 100,000 and their operating budget's only 100,000, that would be knocked back to 75,000. So they're a little bit behind the county's process. And I think, it was good to get ahead of the process with the townships and just plant the seed that the county is a willing partner. If there's an opportunity to invest funds in roads, we may be able to do that. So I thought it was a good meeting all in all, just to kind of understand where the townships were at and what their perspective was. And then finally, the Calhoun County Visitors Bureau Board met on June 15. Commissioner Vetty is the chair of that board. And we heard some good updates from our CEO, Linda Freibler, some really optimistic reports on how the tourism industry is rebounding. And they are, revamping their efforts to actually go on sales trips and attract sports activities to Battle Creek and the whole county. So that was good news. And then finally, I'll just mention that at the state level today, you probably have heard the governor, the state is rescinding or revoking their MDHHS masks and gathering orders as of next Tuesday, June 22nd. So really the decision to be made by the county as an employer is whether we decide to lift our requirement that unvaccinated employees continue to wear masks or not. The MIOSHA rules, of course, that are designed to protect our employees have not been amended, at least as of today. They include some social distancing requirements for unvaccinated employees, but really the rest of that, and including the public, we will have the freedom to decide, what precautions we want to continue going forward. Of course, the public health officials are encouraging us to try to have people continue with the protocols, especially the unvaccinated people, even though there's no longer going to be the state mandates in place. So we'll be working on potentially yet another update on our policies and procedures in response to that.
Quick question.
Yes.
Was there any mention of the MIOSHA rules today?
The only mention I saw was in some of the media reports, which just said that there has been, no update yet from MIOSHA. MIOSHA does not require masks. They simply, their latest iteration references, that employers need to continue to provide masks to unvaccinated employees and to follow the MDHHS orders. So there's nothing in MIOSHA that requires masks for anybody. I should also mention that the courts, of course, have implemented their own face covering policy along with the guidance from SCAO. And so we'll have to see if that is going to change now that the statewide mandate has been lifted. So
okay, more to follow.
Yeah, more to follow on that.
Okay.
And one final note, this is our last virtual meeting for the Board of Commissioners, we hope, and we're going to do a trial run for in-person meetings just because we have the new technology and the new voting system in the commission chambers. We'll be working with a few of the commissioners, I think it's next week, to just make sure everything is okay, but then we're planning, our next meeting is July 15. We only have one meeting in July and we're planning to meet in person. And there will be, of course, no mask requirements or no distancing requirements, no capacity limits within the board chambers for the public or the board members. So we're looking forward to just being back to more of a normal board meeting setting going forward. All right, so with that, we'll move on to new business tonight. We have 9 items. The first one is item 12B1. And this is the second year of a required deficit elimination plan for a specific fund that's managed by our Water Resources Commissioner. This is the Lake Level Capital Projects Fund. So this is the fund when any maintenance or investment needs to happen to control the lake level for any one of the lakes that have a lake level order in place. They will do the work in advance, and then the way that they get reimbursed is through special assessments in the future. So depending on the timing of that work, which is what happened in 2019, they did the work and then the special assessments didn't start until 2020 and will continue in 2021. So it's a 2-year plan to eliminate that deficit, but because of the Michigan Department of Treasury's accounting rules, we are required to submit this formal plan, which shows that we went from 129,000 deficit in 2019 to a 37,000 deficit in 2020. It will be down to a surplus at the end of 2021, and we'll be done with that. So we're required to have board approval on that deficit elimination plan to forward to Treasury.
Can I have a motion to approve the Lake Level Capital Project Fund Deficit Elimination Plan Year 2 as presented?
So moved,
So
Betty.
moved, Hatcher. Support, Hatcher.
Betty and Hatcher. Is there any discussion? Commissioner Hatcher, before we proceed, can you tell us where you're at?
Yes, I am sorry. I do apologize for that. I am in Marshall, Michigan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
and 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B2 is a staffing allocation request from our equalization department. So this is in accordance with the controls put in place by the budget resolution every year. And that requires any changes to the authorized staffing chart that was approved back in December as part of the budget to come back to the board for approval. Within our equalization department, we continue to have transition. Our Deputy Director, Tom Scott, is here tonight, and I want to give him a happy birthday. His birthday's tomorrow. He has done a wonderful job managing this department with the oversight of Matt Hansen, who we continue to contract with from Calhoun, from Kalamazoo County. And so what's going on now in equalization are we only had 2 appraisers on staff. They both retired at the beginning of this month. So Tom is basically doing the work of all 3 of the appraisers right now, including himself. We have an office administrator who is planning to retire at some point in the near future. And so Tom is looking at a restructuring and changing that position to an equalization clerk. In the meantime, because the administrator is still here, this needs to be authorized by the board as a new position. So we're adding the equalization clerk position so that he can hire someone who can be trained by the current administrator. And then when she retires, the clerk position will be the only one there. It's got a net increase of about 18,000 for this year's budget, which will be covered by the savings from all of the vacancies that I just mentioned.
Can I have a motion to approve the staffing allocation request equalization clerk as presented?
So moved, Betty.
Support, Miller.
Support.
Support.
Betty and Miller, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
it's 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B3 is the approval of senior service strategic projects contracts. And Commissioner Tompkins outlined the process for that pretty well at the beginning, as well as Rod Otten's comments about one of these projects. So the recommendation that the Senior Millage Allocation Committee has already approved on June 4. And I want to mention also Senior Millage Allocation Committee works very closely with county purchasing to be involved with all of the evaluation. It's a pretty comprehensive process that they go through to allocate these funds. And again, this is the use of fund balance that has been accumulating over the years from funds that are outside of what the special millage collects. So they're, using one-time funds for these one-time strategic projects. So 2 projects are being recommended. The first one, $17,500 to the Albion Healthcare Alliance for the food distribution system that Rod Otten outlined, and then $125,000 plus a potential $50,000 match to relocate and remodel the senior center in Marshall called Heritage Commons, and Carewell Services is managing that project. So we ask for your basically ratification of what Senior Millage Allocation Committee has already approved.
Can I have a motion to approve the Senior Services Strategic Project Contracts, the Albany Healthcare Alliance and Carewell Services as presented?
So moved,
I'll move
Tompkins.
Betty, or support
Support
Betty.
Hatcher.
Tompkins and Betty. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion carries.
The next 2 items are basically tie-barred together, if I can use that word that the state legislature uses. 12B4 is the proposed new policy for board and committee appointments. And the goal that we, county administration and our corporation counsel and Lucy Blair, our communications director, we've been working on this since the board orientation discussion that we had back in February. And so we wanted to update the application that the public uses to apply for committees. We really simplified that application to not ask questions that were unnecessary and to just make it simpler and more consistent with what other local governments are asking. And then what the policy aims to do is better document the expectations and the processes that we expect those boards and committees that the county convenes internally, basically because of statute or because the board has chosen to create these boards and committees. So we want those people that are managing the committees to be consistent in the way that they're recruiting and evaluating and recommending candidates. And so that creates accountability. We also wanted to build in an emphasis on the committees need to have some diversity and experience in geographic and race and every other dimension, so that we can have all of the perspectives that we can to best represent our residents. So some of the highlights that are included, and we did update this just yesterday, but basically we'll be posting the vacancies online on the website. Whenever a committee wants to fill a position, we're trying to do a better job of advertising that, because honestly, we have trouble getting enough interest of our public to engage with county government. We want to make sure that there's efforts to recruit diversity among the committee and to explain that process. And then ultimately wanted to emphasize that it's the Board of Commissioners' responsibility and authority to approve applicants. So we'll be copying applications that come in through the website. We'll be making sure that those are distributed to all of the commissioners. And I think it'll just be a better documented process in the form of a policy. And as you'll hear, the next step to that was we didn't have this policy, so we sort of defaulted with minimal language that was included in the standing board rules. So we're going to recommend we eliminate what was in the board rules and replace it with this more comprehensive and robust board policy. Want to thank Commissioner Smith for his thorough review and suggestions of some final adjustments to that, and we hope that you support what we've come up with. We have put this new policy through the same review process that we always do, which is sending it out to all of our countywide elected officials and department heads and our union leadership for comment. And we've incorporated any of those comments, and we know that they're all supportive.
Can I have a motion to approve the new board and committee appointment policy as presented?
So moved, Hatcher.
Hatcher, and was that Smith?
Yes.
Jake, was that you?
Yes. Yep.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Commissioner
Yes,
Smith?
Chair. Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Chair, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I thought you said Hatcher.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Commissioner Smith.
Oh, thank you. No, I just want to take a moment to thank Kelly, Jim, Lucy, Chair Frisbee, anybody who touched us along the way. I think this is a really good policy that we can all be proud of. So thank you to everybody who helped chip into it.
Thank you. Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chair, I also want to take this opportunity to support and thank you and Kelly for the work that was put into this. I think that it will show, and it does demonstrate the board ability and the importance that we show in diversity and being transparent in the people that we support. So I just want to say I thank you and Kelly so much. I noticed the changes that we were getting and the corrections to a lot of the agenda meetings, and I just want to say thank you so much for the support and the work on this effort. So thank you so much.
Are there any other discussions?
Yeah, Steve, I just want to say thank you also. I mean, it's come a long way, and I really appreciate the time that Kelly's put into this.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jake, did you have another comment?
I just want to make sure the motion reflects that we're voting on the updated version is all. That's all. Thank you.
Yep.
And also if we could get more of Brad's dog on screen if possible.
It's our therapy dog.
Goodness.
I would just add one comment. Many of our committees were already following this process, so it's not foreign to them to read this and follow it going forward. SMAC is one that had really followed it to T. You could look at Summit Point. You could look all over the place and see that they were trying their best. I think this just gives us the ability to say we formed a policy with our expectations collectively. And I think it'll work better for everybody to know what the ground rules are. So I appreciate the work that Kelly and administration and all the elected officials put into this too. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Kevin, yes.
Motion carries. Tommy, your arm's going to get tired. Put your hand down.
All right, item 12B5, as I mentioned, is the related and necessary update to the standing rules of the Board of Commissioners. We rely on our Corporation Counsel, Jim Dyer, to be the keeper of the board rules. And his recommendation is simply to eliminate rule number 11, which talked a little bit about appointments to boards and committees, but definitely is inconsistent if we left the rule the way it was. The other thing that we asked him to do was to present a complete board rules document that incorporated the prior changes that have been made over the years by the Board of Commissioners, including incorporating the rules for electronic meeting participation, such as tonight, in accordance with the Open Meetings Act. So just to ask that as a formality, you approve the updated standing board rules, and Jim can answer any questions that you may have.
Can I have a motion to approve the revisions to the standing rules of the Board of Commissioners as presented?
Support Hatcher. So moved, Hatcher.
Support Miller.
Hatcher and Miller, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher.
Yes, please.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B6 are the monthly financial statements, and this would be through the month of May, so January through May. Some things I would note are the first really large thing that stands out is in the general fund. We received in May our $13 million first year deposit of the American Rescue Plan Act funds. So that definitely improves our bottom line in the general fund. Treasurer has those funds invested very nicely, and as you heard from him before, the interest on those funds are totally unrestricted and can be used for any governmental purpose. We also received in May $364,000 in marijuana tax, so that's included in the general fund. We're still tracking on the downside. Charges for services are lagging by about $469,000, specifically in the jail and our boarding revenue. On the positive side, revenues within the clerk's office are up, including deed recording fees as a symbol of the continued positive real estate market. And then court costs are also, you can tell there's more court activity this year. Court costs are up about $34,000 from last year. The only other item I would note that's a variance from last year to this year is that we have not received a transfer from the delinquent tax revolving fund, with our county treasurer maintaining that he is not willing to declare a surplus this year. So that's 1.5 million that we have budgeted, and last year was transferred in May. This year, we, I guess, are essentially trying to figure out how to cover that variance. On the expense side, we're noting about a $500,000 savings in salaries and wages because of the furlough program and just vacancies that we had to build into this year's budget. You may have heard today that the state legislature is ending the, it looks like they would be ending the work-share program prematurely. We have people that were scheduled to be on work-share through the end of, or through the beginning of September. So it's unclear. That just came out today. We may have to end that prematurely, but we have accrued about $500,000 worth of savings so far. I'll note also the road department. We noticed the MTF state funding from registration fees and fuel tax is still lagging from what was pre-COVID. We have been able to build in capital outlay and sort of catch up because last year's capital outlay we had to put on hold. The road department is estimating between this year and next year, potentially close to $2 million of reduced revenues from state funding. And we're hoping that the state appropriates some of their ARPA funds to reimburse road agencies for that. You'll see we've started pothole patching with the contractors. And through May, that was about $865,000 spent on pothole patching in the county. So that's it for the financials. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right, can I have a motion to approve the Calhoun County May 2021 financials as presented?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support, Betty.
Tompkins and Betty. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B7 is a recommendation for updates to the 2021 fee schedule that the board approved as part of the budget approval back in December. So in May 2019, the board approved engaging a company called MGD Consulting Group to do an independent fee study. And what they do for local governments is determine what the cost is to provide certain services where counties charge fees to individuals, and these are fees for services that benefit not the community as a whole, but individuals for something, you know, that is optional, for a service that they need from the county. And what we try to do according to state statutes is not make any profits, but also not subsidize with our general taxpayers services. So we try to match the fees that we have discretion over, and some of the fees are dictated by the state, so we don't have a choice. But the ones that we determine and have the board approve every year, we try to match the fee that we charge as much as possible to the full cost that our staff and any supplies required add up to. And so the fee study was completed. It was definitely slowed down because of COVID last year, but we have met with all of the elected officials and department heads and got concurrence that there's really only a few areas where we want to adjust the fees to either better match what the full cost is, or in some case actually, you know, give the discount. So the first one I'll mention is in the dog licensing area. So we have a fee that we were charging for a 1-year license, and a 3-year license was basically 3 times that. And so the thought was, we really want to encourage people to get the multi-year license, so we should give them a discount. So this will not increase revenue. It's just going to hopefully incentivize more of our public to get their dogs licensed for in the name of public safety. The second area is within the clerk's office, and the clerk has a fee for the public requesting vital records, meaning copy of your marriage license, copy of your birth certificate, and those fees have not been increased in probably 30 years. They were at $10, drastically lower than other counties throughout the state, and especially counties of our size. And Clerk Hinckley has done some work through her statewide association in comparing those, and agrees that they're drastically under what the peer counties and our surrounding counties charge. In addition, this independent fee study determined that it costs closer to $30 in most cases for the time and the energy involved with our clerk's office to produce those records for the public. So we were drastically undercharging. And so the recommendation is to increase from $10 to $20 the cost to get those vital records. And in addition to that, the Clerk Hinckley is interested in giving our seniors a big break, meaning charge them $0. So it's kind of a twofold recommendation. We're increasing the fee to get closer to the actual cost for the general public, but actually reducing to $0 the fee for the seniors throughout Calhoun County who need those records. And it is estimated to result in $56,000 or so increase in the clerk's office revenues. That, you know, of course, can be roughly related to the investments that we're making in Kim Hinckley's continued emphasis on trying to put technology in place to make things public who doesn't want to have face-to-face interaction or wait in lines in the clerk's office. So there's a lot of exciting technology increases, and then also this is just really the right thing to do to try to match our fees for individuals with the service that's provided, instead of having all of our taxpayers subsidize the gap between what people were paying for those records. And then the third item is in the road department. They just adjusted some permitting and traffic count fees to better match what the industry standard is and what the true cost is.
Great. Let's get a motion, and then we'll go to Commissioner Smith. Can I have a motion to approve the updates to the 2021 fee schedule as presented?
So moved, Betty.
Smith.
Betty and Smith. Any discussion? Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just had a question. I'm looking at for Kelly, I'm looking at the fee schedule attached to the agenda, and you had mentioned that senior vital records were going to $0, but I see this is reflected as a 10. Is it a $0 increase or $0?
Oh, you are correct. It is
I'm gonna make me a
$0 increase.
$0 increase. I said that, yeah.
Okay.
So zero increase.
Ryan
Okay.
was asked about eating.
So I'm sorry, my apologies. So zero increase, it's still $10.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
I said that. I said that wrong. You are correct. It is a zero increase, but it is still, so them giving them a 50% discount.
Gotcha, thank you.
Does that answer your question? Commissioner Smith?
Yes, it does. Sorry, I
Thank
couldn't
you.
get on mute.
Commissioner King?
Did you say Commissioner King?
Yes.
Thank you. You know, a few years ago, we through the Haven and Safe Place, and I believe there was a handful of different spots where, you know, some of our homeless population, if they were to reach out to the clerk for vital records, those records would be at a reduced fee, and they would be covered by those agencies, or it was zero. I can't remember. Well, I think it might have been zero. Regardless, are we still doing that for, you know, the counties most vulnerable?
I believe we are still doing that. It was a waiver of the fee for those individuals. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
we are.
Yes, we are. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you continuing to do that, Kim. That's you know, it's not that easy for those folks to get the services that they deserve, and if they don't have a birth certificate or, you know, something where they can go and prove who they are, stuff. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I got something, Steve.
Go ahead, sir.
I really appreciate, you know, everything we've done for this. I just think it's a really bad timing with everything that's gone on in the last year and a half. I think we can get creative and try to find some ways to help out, but I'd like to see this postponed for another year or so to raise any kind of increases. So thank you.
Thanks for your comments. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
No.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
I don't see her currently.
Okay.
I think we lost her.
comes back. Commissioner Smith,
No.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
we have 4 yes, 2 no.
Motion carries.
Item 12B8 is our annual request from the Battle Creek Area Transportation Study, or Bcats, to contribute to the local funding plan. So this is a match to the federal transportation planning funds, and it's split between the county, the city of Battle Creek, and the city of Springfield for the urban areas that the planning organization covers, and based on a proportion split by population. So this year, it comes out of the county road department budget, and it's about $21,000. It went down slightly from last year. And then from that, we leverage federal funding, 11,000 of which comes back to us to participate in traffic count activities, 3,000 for asset management, which is basically, I think, the Payzer rating activity. And without this, Bcats would not have the required operational funding to match these federal dollars and make us available to get so many of the competitive grants that our road department seeks out and gets, including the air quality improvement grants and others. So I support this. The road department builds this into their annual budget. It will come in 2022, and we ask for your approval.
I have a motion to approve the Bcats fiscal year 2022 local funding resolution as presented.
So moved. Smith.
Smith.
Support King.
Smith and King. Right, Madam, any other discussion? Derek, you're echoing bad.
It's not me, but
I believe it's Commissioner Hatcher.
Okay. Any other comments? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
yes.
it's 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, the last item under new business tonight is 12B9. This is the award of a construction contract to improve J Drive South, which is in Albion Township. There was a competitive bidding process by the road department. Did come in a lot higher than the township and the county originally thought and had an agreement on. You can see those bids attached, but the low bid was from Hoffman Brothers. The recommendation is to award the construction contract to Hoffman Brothers. We've also attached the local road agreement that was already approved by Albion Township, and then this last week was approved again at the new, unfortunately higher amount, but the goal is to get this work done this year, and so we ask for your approval. It's a 50-50 split in cost, about a $486,000 contract.
Can I have a motion to approve the award of construction contract to improve J Drive South and Albion Township to Hoffman Brothers as presented?
So moved.
I'll move Betty.
Tompkins and Betty, any discussion?
Is this a 50-50 match?
Yes.
Yes.
It's a pretty big investment by them and we appreciate it.
Yep.
Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes, thank you.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion carries. All right. Next item is citizens' time. The same rules apply as during the first citizens' time. Please limit your time to 3 minutes and no negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note that there's an approximately 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Is there anyone who would like to address their commissioners?
Hi, Walker.
I hate this dead silence. Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Anyone in the queue? All right, we'll move on. Commissioners' time. Do any commissioners have anything to share tonight?
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I just want to take the opportunity to wish my colleagues, certainly on the board, and all of the fathers out there a very happy Father's Day this Sunday. Certainly an important time for our fathers and our sons and our daughters, and hopefully everybody gets a chance to spend some time with their kids. And then also, too, I want to take the opportunity to wish each and every one of you, including everyone out there, a very happy 4th of July holiday as we celebrate our independence.
Yes.
Please be safe and enjoy. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Chair?
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes.
Hatcher.
I also want to duplicate the comments of Commissioner Tompkins. I want to also take this time, first of all, to wish all of my partners on the board a happy Father's Day, all the dads a happy Father's Day. I also want to apologize for my tardiness tonight, and I do want to explain to my team and also to my constituents that my granddaughter, had a couple of weeks ago had emergency appendicitis surgery. So I had been playing the dual role that I'm not used to, but I had also been playing the role of mother and grandmother because of COVID and her parents working. I was also taking care of her. And so I had to also get her back to the hospital for her stitches and to make sure that her surgery and her incision was taken care of. So I actually was so excited to see you guys again. I thought we were having a meeting in Marshall up until the last minute, and I spoke with one of the other commissioners. So that is why I was in Marshall at the time. So I apologize for the Wi-Fi and that moving about, you guys. I really do apologize for that. But then I got on 94 and I was headed back from Marshall to Battle Creek. So I apologize for that. My granddaughter is doing well. And again, I want to take this time to thank everyone for the acknowledgement of Juneteenth and what that means to me and to my family and to my ancestry. And I also would like to wish everyone a happy Father's Day and a very happy and safe Independence Day. Thank you, you guys, for all that everyone on our team does.
Thank you. Commissioner King.
Thank you. I don't even know how to even say this because it's so sad to even talk about, but our county, it's people die. We know that, but when you lose a child, it's just not right. And the Marshall community is mourning the loss of a 10-year-old girl that tragically died as the police chief in Marshall's daughter. And I mean, it's weighed heavy on my heart since it happened. And I just wanted to say publicly that we need to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. And I couldn't imagine, here we are getting ready for Father's Day, and that family's going to be going through hell tomorrow. And for a long time to come. And it's not supposed to be that way. My love, thoughts, and prayers are with that family, and I hope everybody else keeps them and their family in their prayers and thoughts as well.
Josh and Amanda Lankard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good people. Anybody else?
Chair, I do. As I want to repeat also to Commissioner King's sympathy and my condolences go out to the family. And as a parent who has lost a child, I do. I understand, and it's the most difficult thing. And Commissioner King, I do want to thank you for taking the opportunity to making sure that you put that in the forefront of our mind. There are so many things going on, but we also at this time have to also remember that life still goes on for some people, and life is always not, I guess life is not always what we all think to do. It just makes me remember, Commissioner King, how my mother used to always say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. So I do. I send my condolences and my prayers and thoughts out to the family, and I want them to know that I do. I understand exactly what they are going through as a family at this time. It is never easy to reverse and to bury a child and have to mourn the loss of a child, because that is not the way life is. And so thank you, Commissioner King, for bringing that to our attention. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. Claims payable. Can I have a motion to approve the Calhoun County claims payable for May 28th, 2021 through June 9th, 2021 in the amount of $2,783,883.85 as presented?
So moved, Hatcher.
Support Miller.
Hatcher and Miller, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
with 7 yes.
Motion carries. Any announcements?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
thank you. Well, first and foremost, the Juneteenth celebration of freedom will be happening in Albion this Saturday, starting at 10:45 with several proclamations at City Hall, followed by a parade from City Hall to Holland Park at 11 a.m. I will certainly be there and marching with that as well. At noon, there will be a short program at History Hill with the dedication of the park and dedication of the new pavilion that's coming up. A lot of hard work has been put into this, into Holland Park and this new pavilion. And if you get a chance, come on down and see it. After the program, there will be a health fair with 10 healthcare area type departments, COVID-19 vaccination site, vendors, games, food, music, and fun. And then it'll top off with a gospel fest starting at 5 p.m. So it should be an incredible day. And I know where I'll be on Saturday. And if you get a chance to partake, please come on down. It's going to be a great day in Albion. Thank you.
Enjoy. Anybody else?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Tompkins. And I would also like to repeat that at Claude Evans. There's also going to be a celebration, and also to New Level Sports. Pastor Chris McCoy will be also celebrating and doing functions there at Claude Evans for Juneteenth. I know that it's going to be a great celebration, and I appreciate the community and the efforts that the community has put forth. New Level has supported that, and also the Urban League and the NAACP have put together an outstanding program for the Juneteenth celebration at Claude Evans Park, and I will be there and representing, and I invite all of my commissioners and any commissioners that want to join us, but I will be there representing the Calhoun County Commissioners in that event, so I look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? All right. We're going to go into closed session, and I need to read this. At this time, the board is requested